Good evening, Ma'am Badaran. The topic that is given to me is under the hours of work and remuneration. So, before I will proceed to the section 21, I would like to say that it is good to know that they approved this law for our teachers because as we all know that being a teacher is not easy. And the section 21, the deduction prohibited. No person shall make any deduction whatsoever from the salaries of teachers except under specific authority of law authorizing such deduction. Provided, however, that upon written authority executed by the teacher concerned, lawful dues and fees owing to the Philippine Public School Teachers Association and premiums properly due on insurance policies should be considered deductible. So, it means that they can't deduct you without any permission or authorization unless it is the GSIS, Pag-ibig, PhilHealth, BIR, etc. Also, if you have a loan, it is automatically deducted to your salary. I asked my sister-in-law because she is a public school teacher. Then she told me that they are being deducted to a certain activity for the school. It looks like a contribution and they didn't know it. So it is better that they prohibited the deduction without your authorization. Under the Health Measures and Injury Benefits, Section 22, Medical Examination and Treatment. Compulsory medical examination should be provided free of charges for all teachers before they take up teaching, and should be repeated not less than once a year during the teacher's professional life. Where medical examination show that medical treatment and/or hospitalization is necessary, same should be provided free by the government entity paying the salary of the teachers. In regions where there is scarcity of medical facilities, teachers may obtain elsewhere the necessary medical care with the right to be reimbursed for their traveling expenses by the government entity concerned in the first paragraph of this section. As we all know that the salary of the teacher is slightly good. And for example, what if that the medical examination is too expensive? So it is must that the government will provide for it. Before they teach, they should have medical examination and provided fee of charges for our teachers. And talking about the reinvestment or the money you've spent, which can pay back by the government. Section 23, Compensation for Injuries. Teachers should be protected against the consequences of employment injuries in accordance with existing laws. The effects of the physical and nervous strain on the teacher's health should be recognized as a compensable occupational disease in accordance with existing law. So, compensation upon of having injuries or accident in the performance of duties. So, if ever you are teaching and you've been in accident, then you have an injury, there is a compensation will been given to you by the government or the Department of Education. The very good example is the student who is modular, or I must say the teacher who is distributing modules to their students. There's a compensation with it because as we all know, in this time of pandemic, the life of our teacher is endangered, or I must say in a delicate situation. So what if that they have a COVID virus? You know what I mean? It really talks about the assurance. Is there an assurance that the government will help the teachers? I think that there is a compensation, or I hope that they will have an additional salary in terms of having this type of pandemic because their life is in a delicate situation. Under the leave and retirement benefits, study leave, section 24. In addition to the leave privilege now enjoyed by teachers in the public schools, they should be entitled to study leave not exceeding 1 school year after 7 years of service. Such leave should be granted in accordance with the schedule set by the Department of Education. During the period of such leave, the teacher should be entitled to at least 60% of their monthly salary, provided, however, that no teacher should be allowed to accumulate more than 1 year's study leave, unless he needs an additional semester to finish his thesis for graduate study in education or allied courses, provided, further, that no compensation should be due the teacher after the first year of such leave. In all cases, the study leave period should be counted for seniority and pension purposes. The compensation allowed for 1 year study leave, as herein provided, should be subject to the condition that the teacher takes the regular study load and passes at least 75% of his courses. Study leave of more than 1 year may be permitted by the Secretary of Education, but without compensation. After 7 years in the service, they give this what do we call the study leave. They will not easily give on study leave without the schedule provided by the Department of Education, because you're not only the teacher, and so it means that there are a lot of teachers and they have to choose which is the best to be given the study leave. And they use it for the thesis, defenses, and it is using when you are going to masteral or doctorate. Now, when you use it, you can have 60% monthly salary to your basic salary, and then it will be granted if you provided that you take regular study leave or study load and pass at least 75% of your classes. So, you must have 75% of your subject or classes for you to get or been granted this study leave. Section 25. Indefinite leave. An indefinite sick leave of absence should be granted to teachers when the nature of the illness demands a long treatment that will exceed 1 year at the least. For example, the teacher is sick and it doesn't know how long the treatment is, so the indefinite leave can be used. There is no payment when they use it, this indefinite leave, but as long as they have been fully recovered, they can continue teaching and be back in the public school.